Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR. Today it is the final day of April 2021. Level 14 in Jumanji, if you're keeping track. You know, we started off that game in February of 2020, and we're ending level 14 now of Jumanji. The man they call Meathead, Linda Kay, joining us on a very special Friday morning. Morning, Linda.
Good morning, Meathead. Wow, what an April this has been. Number one, it's flown by, but
Yeah,
a lot
flew
in
by.
the wrestling world
So much
had
going on.
happened. I'm kicking off with, WrestleMania being this month.
WrestleMania. I mean, we had Brewers opening day. The Brewers with a big win last night against the World Series champion Dodgers.
Yes.
You know, the haterade firing, even though he gave up a run. I mean, you've got the big news in Impact and AEW. The NFL draft started last night as well.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be a Packer. I mean, April.
Can we not talk about that?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We shall see. But
and what else happened in April, Linda Kay? What else happened?
The month kicked off with an awesome April's Fools episode.
Oh, that was great too. But I'm talking about the coronation of the champ. The champ is here.
Yes.
For the PWR draft. The champ. Pillar to post. There was not a point that I was not leading and winning and dominating. Let's talk about our sponsor. Linda, you take the honors. Who are we sponsored by?
We are sponsored by the wonderful folks of Collar and Elbow.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous spring designs, sale items. Check it out. And if you want to save even more money, make sure to use promo code Linda K. That's LINDAKAY to save yourself 10% off on the best wrestling streetwear out there.
Awesome. Fantastic. CollarandElbowBrand.com. Linda K. That's KAY is the promo code for that. And Linda, you had a big week of OVW tapings going on. What's going on down in OVW?
Well, this past week, I was down there for the live taping, which if you would like to check it out, of course, OVW TV is on Fight TV Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, where you can catch OVW TV from the week.
Yeah, and there's new custodial employees around as well.
Yes. There was a new custodian, janitor, if you will. He looked very similar to former senior intern Cal here from PWR, and I had to look a little closer. I had to
with a lot more hair,
a bit, and it was Fanny Pack Kid Cal. He was,
wow.
As we know right now, his career did end with a match a couple weeks ago against Shotgun Tony Gunn of OVW, but Cal Hero made an appearance tonight on OVW TV where we saw him sweeping around the arena, and looks like shaking things up between him and Tony Gunn. So we'll see what will transpire from that. But yeah, so Thursday night,
maybe the kid to go break into the business. We'll have to see. I mean, no, it looks good. Cal Hero with more hair. That hair just keeps on going.
Right. But yeah, so Thursday nights, Fight TV, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can catch OVW TV every week, Thursday nights.
Yeah. Hey, I got to ask this question. We might have to have Cal on the program for this. If you're a custodian and you wear a fanny pack, do you keep your cleaning supplies in the fanny pack?
Perhaps he will, but as of right now, he does not possess that fanny pack because Tony Gunn took his fanny pack, his jacket, his wrestling boots. So right now he's just got that good old broom. Sweep the arena. Yeah.
All right, let us talk about interesting bit of news that happened on Monday night, and it really just came to light in the last couple days here. WWE has confirmed that Braun Strowman, as of Monday night, is the first ever competitor in the history of WWE, WCW, and ECW to work 3 matches in one night, singles, tag, and handicap. No one has ever done it before. Congratulations, Braun Strowman. Kind of unique, don't you think? And really no hubbub about it.
Yeah, that's tremendous to find out. This just puts Braun Strowman in even a bigger light, or in greater light. Yeah, just, the whole thing with Shane McMahon and WrestleMania. Now, that match at Mania was great, but this is something new. Like, what would Braun Strowman be doing after Mania? Who would he be in a feud with? And obviously, with the conclusion of Raw, we know that he's now going to be in a part of a triple threat match for the championship at WrestleMania Backlash. However, this was a nice way to feature Braun again, and in better light than that, the being talked down on. Not
right,
too long
exactly.
ago by Shane McMahon.
Braun.
Yeah,
That was
he looked
terrible.
very
So this is a
strong.
nice thing.
Yeah, very strong. That was great to see. And, sure, we're getting another triple threat match at the next pay-per-view for the title, but this one's building nicely, I think. I don't know if others may have felt, another Lashley McIntyre match. But now, with the addition of Strowman, I think it's shaking it up in a nice way.
Yeah, I think so too. Hey, before we get into talking about what happened on Impact last night and talk about Smackdown coming up tonight, we haven't got to it yet this week, but I want to talk about the A&E biography on the Hot Rod, Roddy Piper. Absolutely loved the show for one. 2 hours did not go long enough for me. We could have kept on going. I got, we talked about it. You and I did, Linda. We talked about the reviews of the first Stone Cold one and really just kind of poo-pooing it. I don't see those reviews this week. I don't see them at all. The Roddy Piper biography was fantastic, and we got some details out of the Hot Rod. I mean, I've even helped interview him before, and these are details, a lot of them that I didn't know. I knew about being stabbed. I knew that he was stabbed after a wrestling match. To have his son Colt tell the story, hey, I just wanted to talk to that guy for a second because he stabbed me. Wow. I mean, you want to talk about a true heel? I know that's a taboo phrase in the PWR world. Back when we were talking to Uncle Al about Randy Orton, true heel, that was a hot button topic. But you want to talk about a true heel? Roddy Piper was a true heel in the beginning of WrestleMania era.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just that piece about how he got Piper's Pit as a show, how that was his debut in WWF. And then that first interview he did, and knowing that he just had the start and the finish of each Piper's Pit in mind, but nothing in between. It was anything goes. And we got to see that hashtag true heel side of Roddy Piper. But that was him. That made him tremendous. He was rowdy. He was loud. He was full of surprises. And any moment he stepped foot on the screen with the Piper's Pit or in a match or just any of the interviews that he's done about his
talk
history.
About iconic lines that he's had. Every time you think you know the answers, I change the questions. I loved hearing this little tidbit. We talked to Roddy when, and this is the interview I helped do down at Mecca, I believe it was, with Damien. He talked about the 20th anniversary of They Live. John Carpenter was even featured on this, and he said, Roddy Piper has this book, and you hear throughout this book, or throughout this biography, that he has this book of stuff. So those quips that he would come up with, he had been writing. He put in tons of work on that stuff. It seemed like it came off the top of his head, but, all good comedians, all good, performers are always writing this stuff down, and then they figure out a point to bring it up. The fact that he's, got all these different lines, I've come here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I am all out of bubble gum.
Bubble gum. Yeah.
Oh, man. John Carpenter goes, wow, that's amazing. I think I could use that in the movie.
It was the most iconic quote from that movie, and there were lots of good ones. I mean,
loved hearing from movie. Keith David from that movie too, because you go to that fight between Roddy Piper and Keith David. Keith David even mentioned that was a good 7-minute screen time fight. Those guys were going just all off. I mean, that fight is probably one of the best Hollywood fights in the last 30, 40 years. I mean, South Park did an amazing homage to that fight when they had Cripple fight on the South Park episode between Jimmy and Timmy. Put on stupid hat.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Just, in that era of wrestling superstars in box office movies, sure, we had the Hulkster and No Holds Barred, still one of my favorites of that era, but They Live, that one just comes to heart. I don't know. I think it was maybe because it wasn't a horror movie, but it had that sci-fi thing with it.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Roddy Piper as well, and the kicking ass, bubblegum, the rest is history. But yeah, what a tremendous biography on Roddy Piper.
Yeah, one more piece I want to talk about here too, and it's ironic and iconic in the same sense. Piper, there was a lot of Hogan in this, right?
Mm.
And Hogan said, man, Roddy, if you would have just done the JOB with me, you could have been richer beyond your wildest dreams. And then Piper, 20 some years later, 30 years later, is kicking himself going, man, we could have sold out buildings. We could have, done this and that. Piper did not do the job at WrestleMania. He made them pin, I think it was Orndorff got pinned in that one.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's just, one part of Roddy Piper where they mentioned many times and just having, I don't want to say erratic decisions, but maybe not thinking too much into it just because he was so rowdy.
I mean, dude, he was so hot. He punted Cyndi Lauper in the head in a match. He needed security to get him out. And I love this little tidbit. Cyndi Lauper's manager comes up and goes, hey, would you mind kicking Cyndi in the head? It'll be really good for TV. He goes, yeah, as long as you don't manage me, buddy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this show, a lot of things we learn. And yeah, there have been several various other biography type shows and features on not just Piper, but any of the talents that we've, seen thus far in the series.
Sure.
But one thing about this is just finding out tidbits that you hadn't before. So looking forward to every single episode of Biography and A&E.
Absolutely. Next week, we're going to have, the Macho.
Mm-hmm.
The Macho Man. Dig it. Stop. Snap into it.
All right. When I was, sorry, random side note, I was driving back from Louisville, I did stop at a gas station. And you know what? I snapped into a Slim Jim.
Nice.
I had to.
You had to, brother. Yeah. We'll talk about this next week, but one of my favorite things about the Macho Man was a minor league ball player. I mean, if he chose to, and if he really kind of buckled down, he could have been a Major League Baseball player. I mean, that's how good he was. I've seen in the preview clips, we see Lanny Poffo, we see everybody else talking about the Macho Man. Yeah. All right, let us talk about WWE's hidden treasures as well, real quick. I was blown away by Undertaker and Kane. Now, here's the cool thing about it. Kane, we know, is the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. And the Undertaker, I mean, without ever saying he's retired, is pretty much retired, right? They're looking for the original Kane mask. They're looking for the original purple suit from the Undertaker. And they're trying to find what they call the betrayal urn. This guy who's coming up through NXT, who's doing this show with him, has got to be over huge with The Office. I loved Undertaker busting his chops, going, trying to get over with Hunter over there at The Office, boy. I mean, you want me to put on, they found his Phantom mask. Undertaker has a you store it locker with all his gear. And they literally, Michelle McCool, Undertaker, and this guy just sit outside his locker pulling out tubs and bins going, yeah, I got some stuff in here. You want to take a look? Oh my God, did you see what was in there? The original jacket, the original, Phantom of the Opera mask that he had, where when King Mabel almost broke his eye. The stuff that was in there. Now, they go find Kane and they're digging around and they find one of Kane's masks, which were in his attic. Dude, Kane keeps stuff in his attic. I was just tickled beyond belief just talking about this. It wasn't the original, but it was like number 2, because what they did is they zoomed in on a video. That's gotta be Kane. And it's Vince McMahon. You were right. I was wrong on that. But they found the number 2, and then they said they've got a lead on the betrayal urn. Story goes that Paul Bearer, before he passed, gave it to a friend in the mortuary business, and it's in a museum for undertaking. How cool was that?
Wow. Everything just comes full circle. And
not inner circle, just full circle.
Yes, full circle.
Right, a perfect circle.
Yes. Yes, a perfect circle. Funny side, when you mentioned about Kane keeping things in his attic, I'm like, it just shows, he's like one of us. You store things in the garage, you lose it, cannot find it, you dig out, and you find your hidden treasure.
That's right.
One day. Yeah, but gosh, I mean, I can't believe just how much of the memorabilia there is out there. I mean, with Undertaker in particular, obviously, just showing the warehouse too, and seeing the original casket and all of his historic WrestleMania outfits, and then you have someone who has all the other items. It's like, wow. how do you find this? What did you do with all this time in your life? Like that's tremendous. So that's what you're seeking out to do. But I just, having this show and rewinding back to the moments and the importance of these items really brings back your childhood. It's
and it does.
awesome.
You know what I found interesting? And next time you're down at OVW, you can ask Uncle Al and everybody else down there. I love the insight that Undertaker gives on the snakeskin boots that he wore. He goes, this part's snakeskin, this is the patent leather or whatever. He goes, you can tell that this man, he's looking at Kane's boots. This man did more on his feet than he was laying on his back. This part's worn out more than this part's worn out. Wow. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that's just alert and looking at the details of where it's worn down in a boot more than is on another part of a boot.
A boot?
Yeah, that's what it's a boot. All right, amazing stuff. Next week, we're going to go digging around looking for Jerry the King Lawler stuff. King. The original robe is what they're looking for. So A&E, WWE, a great series going on so far. Next week, the Macho Man and Jerry the King Lawler. Real quick, Impact Wrestling from last night. They opened the show with Scott D'Amore saying that if Kenny Omega doesn't show by the end of the night, he will be suspended and stripped of the Impact Championship and suspended from AEW as well. This was a deal worked out by Tony Khan and Scott D'Amore between Impact and AEW. So Don Callis all throughout the night had to find a way to get Kenny Omega in the building by the end of the show. They are setting up a tournament to make a number one contender, and I believe it's May 15th. That number one contender will take on Kenny Omega for the Impact Championship.
Yeah, I mean, I liked how there was that urgency to get Kenny Omega into the building. I mean, after becoming champion of both Impact and AEW, we were wondering, like, what kind of presence would he have at Impact? Would Impact have more of a presence directly at AEW? Setting this precedence to find a number one contender leading up to the next pay-per-view next month for Impact. I like where it's going. It's going to showcase who else can step up to Kenny Omega, create new feuds, create new storylines, and again, that urgency to get him into that building, because we really didn't know how much he would actually be back at Impact. I mean, we hope he'd be there a lot, considering he's their current champion.
Right, exactly.
And I liked how Don Callis had to make sure Kenny was there, so he would not be stripped of that title, because, come on, right after getting it, if that would have happened, what was the point of everything?
What was the point of it? Exactly. And I didn't get the chance to see the actual pay-per-view proper, but hearing the replay of our Mauro Ranallo calling the match, One Wing Angel. Oh my God, I should have watched the match, because again, Mauro has got a great voice. I don't care what you say about him. I mean, he is amazing, and this guy can carry a show on his own. Again, I've said this multiple times on this very program. He reminds me of a 90s era Joey Styles, who could carry an entire match by himself.
Mamma mia!
Mamma mia! The bipolar rock and roller. All right.
My best.
So Kenny shows up at the end of the night. They tear down the house. The Good Brothers, Kenny Omega and Don Callis, letting everybody know who runs the show. All right, let's move on. We are going to now talk about Smackdown coming up tonight. Very big match, two of them actually, but one has major implications on the career of Daniel Bryan. Roman Reigns, in a very low, soft voice, said to Daniel Bryan last week, I will let you challenge me for the Universal title. And when you lose, you leave SmackDown forever. Yeah. Thoughts, predictions?
I still feel that Roman Reigns will retain that Universal Championship, and therefore Daniel Bryan, I feel, stepping away from the limelight for a bit. But again, that we've discussed this. I know you and Matthew discussed it. It doesn't mean that Daniel Bryan will completely be off WWE television. It can just mean maybe going over to Raw now, maybe helping out the guys at NXT, maybe a more behind the scenes role with Triple H and Shawn Michaels on an NXT. I think Cesaro will be out there with him, and once Daniel Bryan loses, is what I'm predicting. We'll get that face-to-face face-off with Cesaro.
Time for the King of Swing to get his championship match
with Roman Reigns. Yes, so we'll have that sad moment. Daniel Bryan. If this does indeed happen, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it will necessarily be the end of Daniel Bryan in WWE, just in SmackDown in
Right.
particular.
And the way it's laid out is we're supposed to take the empathy, now place it onto Cesaro and put all of our hopes and dreams into Cesaro. It's supposed to be the handoff of emotions there, right?
Right.
Apollo Crews and Big E are set for an Intercontinental title rematch. So this is not going to happen, it looks like, at WrestleMania Backlash, but it's going to happen tonight on Fox. Big E, Apollo Crews, and Commander Aziz is going to be laying out a Nigerian nail again.
Yeah, I foresee that happening. I want Big E to win, and I hope he does, but that strong win, while there was interference, it was still a strong win for Apollo Crews at Mania, and especially having the big presence of Commander Aziz there. We may not see drums at this rematch, but we will definitely see a Nigerian nail. And
in the coffin of the title opportunity for Big E.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that is a Fast and Furious, no pun intended, to F9 that's coming out. With John Cena, the bad guy, by the way. No pun intended, but that is a
we
Fast
always
and
wanted
Furious
him to be the
20
heel. Oh, I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, he's going to be the heel.
Yeah.
It's Vin Diesel's brother. Ugh. But, Linda, have you watched any of the Fast and Furious movies from beginning to end?
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite franchises,
no.
right? That's right. I do love it. The Tokyo Drift one was the only one that was kind of like, meh, but really? You don't think
honestly, the only one that I might have watched would have been Tokyo Drift.
Oh, that's the one that is like not
without the Fast and Furious people in it.
Right. You
Right.
really even see with Rock on there, Hobbs.
Oh, but I mean, because they know how to fly tanks, so that's what they're doing. It's they have to keep up in the ante. I've even watched 20 minutes of Hobbs and Shaw. Pass. Hard pass.
I grew up watching, besides horror movies, a lot of action flicks. So while a lot of it does seem like, oh wow, that can't really happen in real life, I just think it looks amazing on screen. And anytime you bring
this is
in
the
some
question that is going to
wrestlers,
define the rest of our relationship for the rest of the time we know us. Are you ready?
Okay.
Who would win in a fight if left on a desert island with only a stick? Jack Bauer or John McClane?
I'd say Bauer.
Linda, you win. Good
All
job.
right.
Because when John McClane uses cars to throw into helicopters, it's ridiculous. Jack Bauer knows how to kill a man. He cut off a dude's head to take back to the rival gang just to prove he was cool.
Exactly.
All right, Linda, you've survived.
I was going to say, thank goodness.
For Linda Kay, I'm the man that called Meathead. This has been the Week in PWR today. Thank you for liking, subscribing, telling your friends, checking us out on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on iTunes, on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you listen. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for listening. And we will talk to you again Monday morning. Linda, we're going to see you again Monday morning?
Yeah. I was trying to say absolutely and indeed. Yes.
Yep. Well, you survived the Bauer McClane question, so you get to come back.
Right on.
For Linda, I'm Meathead. So long.